Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture, and I'm here because I want to have a little bit of a chat about that time Shawn Michaels was in the NWO and it went nowhere. Look, every wrestler has the odd angle or storyline that doesn't exactly go to plan, and we all agree that we'll forget about it and never mention it again. You've got Bray Wyatt cosplaying as Sister Abigail, whatever the f*** Emelina was, and that one time Kurt Angle banged on about his love of bestiality sex. You get the idea. But I feel like this needs mentioning. I've been losing sleep over it. This was the return of the Heartbreak Kid joining one of the greatest wrestling stables in history after the oddities. And all that basically happened was a brief spike in Kangol hat sales. So let's take a look back together and see if we can figure out this absolute shit show. Now, you probably don't need me to tell you this if you've ever watched wrestling, but Shawn Michaels was pretty good. He'd already dazzled audiences for over a decade by 1998, and he'd outshone all of his colleagues, not only in the mullet department, but also with a dynamic collection of matches and an amazing level of ability. He was the self-proclaimed wrestler of the 90s for good reason. Alongside real-life nemesis Bret Hart, and oh boy, did they hate each other, he'd carried nearly all of the in-ring quality of the company during its financial and creative nadir, with a codependent cocktail of narcotics and narcissism. And a dash of lemonade. And then a devastating back injury suffered in a casket match against The Undertaker looked to have ended Shawn Michaels' career just as the company was exploding back into the mainstream. Right, now we've had that trip down memory lane, let's fast forward a few years. WWF won a wrestling war when Vince McMahon purchased WCW. There was the invasion that went really well and definitely wasn't the biggest missed opportunity in pro wrestling history. Stone Cold burnt out and then walked out. Hollywood took The Rock and then refused to give him back. And The Undertaker was coming to the ring to a theme by Limp Bizkit. Basically, what I'm trying to say is the company needed stars and workers. What they actually did, though, instead of bringing their salvation, was inject themselves with a lethal dose of poison. The New World Order had rocketed WCW to the top of the wrestling world in 1996, but Vince McMahon's reimagining of the stable was every bit as toxic as his character had masochistically promised a few months earlier. WWE taking something that was insanely popular in another promotion and ruining it? I haven't heard that before. Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall arrived in February and then were split by March. Hogan went face, Hall went home, and Nash went and got himself injured, whilst X-Pac and Big Show were left to fly the slightly tattered and torn black and white flag. Already looking a bit desperate, isn't it? So, on the June 3rd, 2002 edition of Monday Night Raw, a desperate Kevin Nash begged his good old buddy Shawn Michaels to come back and save the NWO, despite the fact they'd kind of jumped the shark a while ago, if we're honest. Shawn Michaels claimed to still be just as much of a rebel as he was in the 90s, despite the fact he was wearing a backwards Kangol hat and had a neatly tucked in NWO t-shirt that was available from WWEshop.com. Oh, you bloody rebel! You see, the problem was, despite a decent pop for his return, fans had sort of been trained to not really care about Shawn Michaels anymore, especially as a non-wrestler, the law of diminishing returns and all that. And that wasn't exactly helped a few weeks later when he cut this weird, long, rambling monologue trying to persuade Triple H to, get back together, join his ragtag gang, and it was all over the place. I think a fan summed it up perfectly when he just yelled, "Get to the point!" This was a Shawn Michaels promo, and it was all a bit meh. Look, enthusiastic as he was as a ringside aide to X-Pac, Big Show and a woefully miscast Booker T, Shawn was less papering over the cracks for the NWO and more just sort of lobbing a roll of wallpaper into the Grand Canyon. Not only that, but his religious reawakening wasn't even enough to combat the NWO curse. Less than 30 seconds separates JR getting all excited about the big return of Kevin Nash. He's back after 3 months from a bicep injury, and then guess what? He tore his quad. Really? Michaels stole and saved that match, nipping in with a crowd-popping finish and clipping newly ousted NWO member Booker T with Sweet Chin Music. Poor Booker, by the way. But the futility of it all was kind of achingly apparent. Not even HBK could salvage this shit show. Not even the greatest wrestler of his generation could save the greatest stable of their generation. The writing's on the wall, really, isn't it? Morbidly bookending this whole sorry story, Vince McMahon callously canned the whole thing a week later, and Shawn Michaels agreed to a one-shot deal with his best mate Triple H at SummerSlam to make good on what can only be described as his flawed return. So, in summary, in less than 6 months, we had the original NWO debuting in the WWE, then splitting. Then Shawn Michaels was brought in after a year and a half away, and even he couldn't save them. The whole thing just kind of went bleh. The 2002 return of Shawn Michaels is daubed in permanent marker as wrestling's greatest ever comeback story. Originally turning back the clock for a lone exhibition against his Bezzy, he super kicked Father Time altogether, assembling a superlative second life that many, myself included, prefer to the original vintage. But it could have all been very different. And no, you didn't dream that one time Shawn Michaels was in the NWO and it went nowhere. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Adam Wilborn and I'll see you soon.
So, thanks for watching. Please feel free to click on any of these things around my head, or something terrible might happen to the dog. Too sweet me, bro. Traitor. Traitor.